Okay, the public interested debate will now proceed, and I call the member for Drummoyne.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House 1 notes that Sydney Metro West is a vital part of the metro network that will revolutionise public transport in Sydney. 2, notes the support of the project by the Labor mayors of the Inner West, Burwood and Cumberland councils. 3, reminds the Premier that on the 14th of February 2023, he said he would, quote, absolutely guarantee the future of the Sydney Metro West. And 4, calls on the New South Wales Government to proceed with the Sydney Metro West without delay. Now, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to move motions like this because we all want to work productively with the government for our communities. But I have no option to, because the Sydney Metro West is just one more project in a string of broken promises from the Premier and the new Labor government. When this project was first announced by the Liberal National Government, the goal was to build a 20-minute fast train from Parramatta to the CBD to replicate the Western Line and benefit over 3 million commuters in the Inner West and Western Sydney. In my electorate, the Drummoyne electorate, there are 3 promised stations at Five Dock, Burwood North, or known by locals as Concord Oval, and North Strathfield. The new stations will unlock transport options for my constituents living in areas that do not already have access to a station, and will ease pressure on already burdened stations. That's why any delay or scrapping of the project would be catastrophic for our local community. And it was, Mr. Speaker, the forward thinking of the previous coalition government that not only announced the project, but that planned and started construction on this game-changing piece of infrastructure. And I would like to acknowledge the former Transport Minister, Andrew Constance, who had the vision and the conviction to commit to the project. What we are seeing now in regard to the stalling of this project is nothing short of outrageous. Media report after media report suggesting that the government is contemplating delaying and potentially scrapping the Sydney Metro West. And all we're getting from this government is silence. And like everything else in this place, the project is subject to, guess what, Mr. Speaker? A review. And it's been shuttled off to another committee. That's the Labor way. Delay, review and cancel. I'm concerned about the impacts of this government's actions, or should I say inaction, on my community. Media reports which highlight that this project has been left in limbo have caused a lot of angst and frustration amongst residents. My office has been inundated with correspondence from constituents concerned by this government's decisions, and they have been raising questions the government is refusing to answer. My community is concerned and disappointed, and frankly, I don't blame them. Earlier this month, during question time, I asked the Transport Minister whether she would commit to ruling out the removal of planned stations that have active construction sites already underway. She said, and I quote, the issues that the member raises will be addressed in the report that the government will receive in October. End quote. Listen to those words carefully. A report the government will receive in October. Not that a decision will be made in October. This means there could be further delays for months, even years, before we find out what the new government plans to do about the Sydney Metro West. Households, businesses and communities that are currently dealing with the impacts of construction will live in limbo until the government gets its act together and decides what it will do about the project. This is just simply not good enough, Mr. Speaker. And it's not just those of us on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, that think the situation our communities have been left in is unacceptable. Some of the loudest voices criticising this government are from within their own tent. Fully paid up members of the Labor Party. And I will name them, like the Labor Mayor of Burwood Council, Councillor John Faker, Labor Mayor of Cumberland, the Labor Mayor of Inner West Council, the Federal Member for Parramatta. And from memory, I believe the state members for Parramatta and Strathfield have publicly spoken on the record about the need for the Metro West to be delivered. And the chorus, Mr. Speaker, doesn't stop there. Senior Labor figure and former Minister David Borger has been leading the charge for the case for the Metro to be delivered without delay. A recent Sydney Morning Herald article quotes Mr. Borger as saying boring machines are already in the ground and on their way from White Bay towards Parramatta. Let's just get on with it. And I agree, he's absolutely right. Let's just get on with it. That's what my community is saying too. Let's get on with it. After listening to local chambers of commerce presidents, residents, small businesses and constituents, I launched a community petition calling on the New South Wales Government to deliver the Sydney Metro West project on time, retaining promised stations at 5 Dog Burwood North, or Concord Oval and North Strathfield. And Mr. Speaker, I was amazed at the response, and I take this opportunity to share some of the comments made by local constituents in the chamber today. Ian said, transport into the city is already congested, so we need to continue to improve or develop other alternatives to current trains, buses and ferries. How can the government delay these works after demolishing sites and already building the infrastructure? As a taxpayer and CBD commuter, we should have a say in where our money is invested. And I say, please continue these critical works. Well, Mr. Speaker, from the many conversations I've had, if the Labor Party doesn't get their act together and commit to the Metro West, they'll be clearing out their offices in 52 Barton Place. You'll be clearing out your office in 4 years' time because people are sick of broken promises and they are sick of lengthy delays. Let's continue building and let's just get on with it because voters thought they were getting something different, Mr. Speaker, but it seems they're just getting the same old Labor Party. The very Labor Party that when last in government cancelled the Rozelle Metro after around $500 million taxpayer dollars was spent without even laying a track. Mr. Speaker, without even laying a track. Well, Mr. Speaker, I will not stand for it. The opposition will not stand for it, and my community will not stand for it.
Okay.